What do I have? I have my Magpul laden PSA AKV. It is a pistol caliber carbine or pistol caliber pistol PCP. Um, I've owned it maybe 2 weeks and a little over 2 weeks. And let me pull my stats here. So I took it to its first range visit on October 27th. I shot 199 rounds through it. Today I took it to the range again and I fired 232 rounds through it. It is November 7, 2019. So the total round count thus far is 431 rounds. It's shot a mixture of Wolf 115 grain steel case, Winchester white box 115 grain FMJ. The Wolf is FMJ as well, and Federal 115 grain FMJ. Um, all in all, it's shooting great. Um, it's wearing well. No internal wear on the trunnion. The bolt shows typical wear. There's some magwell wear in here. So I covered this in the last video. I have 3 mags. This came with the gun. That's a PSA 35 rounder. It has plastic feed lips that are reinforced. You can see the reinforcement there, metal reinforced. And then I have 2 Manticore Arms CZ mags that work in this gun. Let me see here. They're 33 rounders. Feed lips are all metal, not reinforced. They're all metal. Wearing well. On these sides of the feed lips, at the base of them, you see wear. On this side, you do not. And you can see that in the magwell of the gun. As well, this one's got an X on it because I've been having issues with this where it doesn't feed right. Doesn't feed ammo right, and it will cause malfunctions. Seems like it only causes the malfunctions when it's full or nearly full. Before I left today, I loaded up all 3 of those mags with 10 rounds each of Federal, and none of them hung up. So I'm almost certain that it's a spring issue with this. Maybe it's oversprung. When it malfunctions, I'll describe this again. I'm so tired of talking about it because this is the 5th or 6th time I've described this, and I have to describe it in a way to where people will understand. It's not me, it's not the gun, it's the magazine. So when it does it, it fires fine once, and then it gets stuck trying to force the next round in. It gets stuck, like it maybe makes it halfway through and then it stops. So if I try and pull it back, the extractor, I can't manually extract around. It's stuck in the chamber or the bore, partially stuck. So it's kind of hanging out there. So a lot of times what I do is I pull the, and this is clear by the way, I pull the charging handle back and then I let it go. And what it does is it hits the round again and forces it into the chamber. You would think that once that's been done, I could rack the round out, but it's not letting me manually extract it. It just hangs. The only thing I haven't done is actually put it on the ground and put my foot into it, sort of like how Rob Ski does sometimes. I go to an indoor range, I can't do that in there. So what I normally do is, since I can't manually rack it, it won't come out, it won't come back, is that I fire the gun. Now normally when I'm troubleshooting, the first thing I do is I pull the magazine out. I always pull the magazine out. And so today And at the last visit as well, when this happened and I was actually able to get the round finally chambered because it wouldn't pull out. Um, so the charging handle was fully seated after I've finally gotten it to kind of accept a round. Uh, what I normally do is I take the magazine and I'll put it back in. Every time I force that round in there, it must not be fully in the chamber because I've never been able to kind of insert the magazine to where it's able to latch and stay in place. It always falls out. So what I typically do is I'll take the magazine out since it won't latch in, and I'll just fire it, and it fires every time. And when it fires, that's when the gun extracts the brass out. So it's able to do that on its own, but it won't let me manually do it. I guess I'm not using enough force. But it sounds like it's problematic. It's always just with this magazine. It doesn't do it with the others. So there's an issue with this mag. And so I bought these from Pepper Gun Shop. I bought 2 of these. This one is giving me problems. I'm going to probably email them tomorrow and tell them that, hey, this one's not working right. I said it always feeds wrong. It always causes at least 1 or 2 issues. So we'll see what they say with that. Or here's another thing. Right before I left today, I decided to load all 3 mags with 10 rounds apiece of Federal. Every single round was fired without issue, even with the problematic magazine. I have this one marked. It's got an X on it if I haven't said it already. So if it'll fire 10, maybe it'll fire 15, maybe it'll fire 20. What I want to do is I want to test this and see how many rounds I can get away with before it starts malfunctioning. If it's 30 rounds, this is a 33 round mag. If it's 30 rounds, that's cool. If it's 29, 28, even that's cool. 10, 15, I'm not sure. So we'll continue to work with that mag. So we've talked about that. That was the elephant in the room, so to speak. So everything else is fine. This is a blowback gun. It was covered in carbon. In fact, you can see the carbon inside the mag. I need to clean that. You would think that maybe the carbon in there might be what's causing this to hang up. But again, these other 2 aren't having issues. So there's that. As well, if you look at the feed lips here, on this side there's excessive wear. On this side there isn't. And you can see that excessive wear inside the mag well here. I mean, it's not eating up the gun, but if I try and insert this, it's not seamless. The thing is, with this one, the one that it came with, super easy. And part of this is me trying to rock it in because I'm used to AK-47 magazines. That's not bad. Kind of sort of have to rock them in. Less so with the black one. And I'm just quickly demonstrating this. Okay. But anyways, so there's a slight fitment issue with those. They will wear in time. They're already wearing in. They were a lot better when I first got them. So I have not cleaned this since I've owned it. I did lube it a little bit before I took it out the first time. It's still got a little bit of lube on there. as well. I looked at the trunnion. I wiped it down after the first range visit. I looked just to check and see if there was any extraordinary wear. There was not. This time I did not. All I did was I looked in the chamber, and of course this is clear, by the way. So if I look in there now, it's covered in soot. The trunnion is covered in soot, which means that there's no wear. If there was wear, then that carbon will be rubbed away, and you'll be able to see the wear. So that's not happening. And of course, you just saw me clear that again. So let's quickly talk about this, because I don't want to make this long. It's almost midnight, and I've been through, this is my 5th or 6th time going through this, so I'm ready to go to bed. And plus I have to work tomorrow. So these are my targets. I got 431 rounds through the gun now. All of these targets represent 232 rounds shot out of the gun today. So this is at 10 yards. This is federal, 115 grain, 35 rounds. Tight groupings. To be expected, maybe at 10 yards. But remember, I said this during the last video, I am not good at shooting while standing up. I've never done that. That's something the Army doesn't typically teach. So I'm learning this as I go. And I'm quickly getting the hang of it. It's a really good, easy gun to shoot because it has no recoil. It's easy to manage. So this is 33 rounds at 15 yards. Same ammo. Got one flyer there. Take a look at that. I like to show the back of the target so you can better see how tight the groups are. Sometimes the lines kind of make things cluttered, such as with this one. This is 33 rounds from that bad magazine at 25 yards. It's not good, not bad at all. Really no flyers. And with this type of target, it was easy to see where, you know, the center of the, I guess, what a bullseye was. This jumps out a whole lot better than for example, this target at 25 yards. So there was one failure to feed. That's with the bad magazine. This represents 3 mags. This is the first mag. That's 35 rounds. That's from the PSA mag. This is 33 rounds from the bad magazine. And a combination of this and this represents 33 rounds. And all of these are being shot from 15 yards. Here I was kind of rapidly shooting. Here I slowed down a little bit and I tightened it up. Look at how ragged it is. That's a pretty tight group there. And here, these are spread out a little bit, but what I did was I started shooting here, then here, then here, then here, then here, then here. So I was moving around a little bit. I was staying in place, but I was moving the muzzle up and down, trying to reacquire targets. And the last target is where I shot from 10 yards using all 3 magazines. This represents one magazine, this one represents another one, and this one yet another. So all 3 of those shot without issue. There were no failures to feed. This was with the Federal. This other one here was Winchester White Box, if it makes a difference. So all of those are very good targets. Getting it, I mean, that looks a whole lot better than when I first went to the range, and it's just bound to be better over time. So I think we're done, and I'm looking to go to the range again in another couple of weeks, maybe another week and a half. I mean, between the last range visit and the one I went to tonight, week and a half. So in a week and a half, I put 431 rounds through the gun in 1 hour sessions each. That might not be a lot for some folks. It's a good bit for me. So now, I mean, we're surpassed the AKP by a lot, round wise. Anything else here? Let me see. We talked about the magazine issue. What we didn't talk about was the blowback nature of the gun. Probably need to take these apart and clean them because you can see carbon all in there and here as well. I had to wipe these down. They were covered from here to here in soot. Magazine well is extra dirty, and anywhere around there is dirty. And I probably actually have soot all on my face because when I left the range a couple of hours ago, I did not wash my face. Most of the time I wash my face, but I wanted to get out of there. I was ready to go because I went from work to home, and usually it takes me 30 to 40 minutes to get home. It took an hour tonight because it was raining and people drive like a-holes. So it took me an hour to get home, and then immediately I packed up and I went to the range. So I didn't get home until almost 9 o'clock tonight, and I had fun. I have range footage as well that I will probably tack on to the back of this video, and if I maybe I'll do that tomorrow because it's late. If I neglect to do that, it'll be the next day or two, and it might be a separate video that I'll link in the description. So we'll see about that. But I'm loving the gun. I like the looks of the AKP a lot better, so I'm really thinking about trying to swap the furniture on the two. I love the wood. The thing is, the wood has less shielding. As much as I fired that tonight, and I wasn't really giving it a break, but I wasn't abusing it either. So if I would have shot that much out of the AKP, it would have got a lot hotter. But again, I'm shooting a hotter round from the AKP, so there's going to be more heat, more than likely, right? But that Magpul furniture, I mean that the hand guards actually have shielding, whereas the wood does not. So that shielding works better than the wood shielding my hands from the heat. So there is that. So I'm on the fence on whether or not I should change the wood, swap those out. I could probably also get away with putting the wood on one of my other AKs. You know, I have an AMD 63, and I also have a SAM 7, but the SAM 7, because it's milled, what I got here isn't going to fit on that SAM 7. So we are done for tonight. Good night, guys.